few traumatic occurrences in my life. And when each one of them was happening, I thought that was the end of the world. And it wasn't until I lost my mother, which I consider to be the most traumatic moment of my life, period. All the other things pale in comparison. And I don't think anyone can fully understand the amount of pain that you feel when you lose your mother. And because everyone experiences loss, right? We all at some point have dealt with losing a loved one. But baby, it's indescribable the emotions that you go through when you lose your mother. And I didn't really have anybody to talk to when I was going through this. You know, my family, I have extended family, of course, cousins and aunts and uncles and things of that nature. But what I considered my immediate family consisted of 4 people: my mother, myself, and my 2 daughters, Lyric and Jazz. And so when my mom passed, it meant now I had to step into the matriarch role. And so I didn't want to let my daughters see me grieve. I felt like I had to be the strong one to allow them the opportunity to get out all of their emotions and whatever pain they were experiencing, the grief that they were going through. If I could talk to myself, if me now could talk to myself then, I would say, girl, if you don't go ahead on and cry, if you don't go ahead on and release the pain, the anger, the denial, everything that you're going through, because if you don't do that, you could very well fall into a depression, a state of depression. And when my mom passed, I just decided to work. I felt like if I take my mind off of it and stay busy, that I wouldn't have to deal with facing the truth about how I behaved when my mother was sick up until the day she passed. I think that a lot of people have been in my shoes where you just don't want to deal with the thought of losing someone so important to you. And I wasn't understanding that when my mother was ill, that she was really legitimately ill. I put off feelings of, now, come on now, you're not that sick, because I was not willing to accept, I was in denial that my mother was truly ill and that she might not be here any longer. And when I look at it now, I feel like I was actually going through the 5 steps of grief before she even passed. You know, I was angry seeing my mother be so sick. Because I had never seen that before in her. She's the strongest person I know. And all of a sudden she was weak and frail. And rather than deal with the fact that she was really sick, I got angry. In denial. I didn't want to accept that my best friend, my whole world, could be leaving me. And so was trying to be strong for my daughters and not deal with all of the emotions I was feeling inside. If I could tell people anything, when you're dealing with a family member who is sickly, who is ill, don't bottle up your emotions. When I think back on it now, I wish I had been able to sit with my mom and tell her exactly what I was feeling instead of icing her out at a time in her life when she needed me the most. And I would say that to anyone, that you have to, in a moment like this, think about them and what they're going through, and not necessarily you and what you're going through. But it's many a day that I wish I could have just sat my mom down and said, "Hey Mom, I don't know you to be like this, and it's hurting me. It's making me angry that I could be losing you. And I love you, and I don't want to lose you." I wish I had been able to tell her that, so that she could have understood my emotions as well. How I was able to get through the loss of my mom was to think about everything that she taught me, to try to honor her legacy. My mom really instilled some great values into me and my daughters, and really gave us strong, solid foundation to stand upon and build on. And I decided that every day that I wake up, that I'm going to be the best person that I can be, so that I represent her properly, so that I honor her life that she lived, and am respectful towards her memory. And I had to sit down, and I wrote a long letter to my mother and said all the things that I wish I could have said face to face to her. And let me tell you something. I didn't have to go to a therapist or anything, but it felt like therapy. Just being able to write down everything and really explain my thought process, really, put words to the emotions that I was feeling, and being able to say the final things that I wish I could have actually said to her was so freeing. Acknowledging my behavior, acknowledging that, the fact that I could have done things better was just so humbling and so freeing, and so it just brought me to a place of peace. Because for some reason, once I wrote it down, I felt like my mother could feel it, could hear it. It's kind of weird. I felt like she was in some weird way able to read it. And that brought me some peace within the moment. That brought me a lot of peace. My healing experience was being able to write down all of the thoughts and all of the things that I wish that I could say face to face to my mom, or wish that I had said. And I was able to write all of those thoughts down and put my emotion put words to the emotions that I was feeling. And in some weird way, I felt like she could read it, she could see it. And it brought me a great deal of peace. I didn't go to a therapist, but that was like my form of therapy, and I feel so much stronger now because of it, because releasing the guilt, releasing the anger, releasing the pain, shedding the tears, writing all of my feelings down, being able to put the amount of love that I have for my mom in pen to paper form was very freeing. The way that I see myself now versus then is I'm stronger. I really thought that I wasn't going to be able to make it another day. When I finally just dealt with the real issue that I had lost my mom, I went into a deep state of depression. And although I was smiling on the outside and trying to continue working on the outside, I was badly broken on the inside. And I felt like I wanted to be with her more than I wanted to be here. But when I look back on it today, being able to, here again, write my thoughts down brought me peace. And then I was able to step out and figure out a way to continually, on a day-to-day basis, make her proud of me. And that meant I had to make changes in my life, in my career, in my personal life. And I did that. And I feel like now I am a true representative of how my mama raised me to be. And I came to grips with that not everything that I was doing was an attribute to me. And I had to really analyze things in my life and let some of those things go. Because doing her memory justice was more important to me than a paycheck. And so I'm just so happy Nathan Buford was my mother. And I'm happy that she raised me to be the person that I am. I'm happy that I'm able to stand on my integrity, stand in honesty, and be a voice that people respect. And I got all of that, as they say, she get it from her mama. So that's my story.